I feel like every single month I see more and more of these Barefoot gym shoes at the gym, and with good reason, because they have a very minimal design that restores your natural foot function and natural articulation. They got the nice wide toe box that doesn't squish your toes and helps restore that natural foot and toe splay. They also strengthen your feet as you wear them because there's literally no support at all. There's no thick layers of foam or arch support or insoles doing different things. It's like standing on barefoot with like 4 or 5 millimeters of material. But they sometimes look like you're wearing duck feet or flippers at the gym. And if you're not conditioned to wearing this particular style of shoe, it can really strain your feet and legs and cause real damage to your ligaments and tendons. So we bought 5 of the top Barefoot gym shoes to compare head to head in a Barefoot gym shoe showdown, where we're gonna cut all these in half, run through our tests and go through every single layer so you know exactly what you're buying and what you're buying them for, so that we can really figure out which is the most durable, which is the most comfortable, best value, most barefoot, and which is best overall, and a bunch of other stuff all in one video so you can have everything you need to know. So let's start looking at the contenders, starting with the Lono first. So the brand is Lono Wear, the style is Flow, they weigh 8.3 ounces, retail for a really affordable $76, made in China. And the way they position this product is a pair of trainers that allow your body to flow naturally and confidently. On a green note, it's made from our tech-driven biodegradable materials. The upper is biodegradable fly knit, midsole is Gone Foam biodegradable EVA foam, and the outsole is Gone Sole biodegradable rubber. So lots of eco-friendly jargon and mixing up words in there. The next one is kind of the polar opposite. This is the Barefoot. The style is the Ursus SLT. They weigh 9.5 ounces. They retail for $119 and they're made in Mexico. And the way they position this product is the Ursus is the original barefoot training sneaker designed for lifting and normal daily use. Its wide toe box, flat zero drop outsole, and flexible frame are ideal for strengthening your feet and improving overall biomechanics. Expertly crafted from US sourced leather and other high quality materials, it offers unparalleled comfort and longevity. And these are definitely more towards the lifting side of things, because the guys that own this business and do all the social media are big old jack dudes. And so this one seems like it's more of like a lifter shoe that you can also work out in. Next to the brand is Freet. The style is Tanga. They weigh 8.7 ounces. They retail for $105. They're made in China, and the way they position this is our most minimal run, hike, gym performance, as well as casual shoe. Single piece upper made from recycled coffee ground fly knit material for amazing performance, whether for sport or casual daily wear. Great for our precious planet's resources too. Next, the brand is SOM, S-O-M, which stands for Sense of Motion. I don't know if it's S-O-M or SOM. The style is the Briquette. They weigh 9.3 ounces. They retail for $164, and the only one made in the USA. And the way they position this product is look cool and feel relaxed in the most comfortable canvas shoes. The perfect summer canvas shoe. Your feet will get stronger with each step forward. Keep your posture in its natural state. And they also have a lot more of this style of like workout shoes, but I wanted to do this one because so many people like working out in Converse and Chucks. And so this was kind of a wide barefoot version of that. And so I thought it'd be interesting to throw it into the mix. And if you want to see more canvas Chucks and Chuck 70 video, we just did a comparison, which is a really cool video. So we'll put that below. And the final one is the brand is Tolos. The style is the Architect 2.0. They weigh 6.8 ounces. They retail for $115 and they're made in China. And the way they position this product is they don't really have a product description, just some basic barefoot style stuff. And if you want any of these shoes, be sure to check out the links in the description. And I tried really hard to swing a discount code for you guys. So, and we got 3 of them. So we got Lonos is gonna do 5% off with the code Anvil. The Barefoot is 10% off with the link in the description. Tolos is 10% off with the code Anvil. And I'm gonna work on SOM and Freet to try to get something in there. So check the description if you want one of those. Maybe by the time you're watching this, we've got it figured out. Oh, shit. Oh, it's moldy on the inside. I love working with Everyman Jack. They make me do really fun stuff like cold plunges in the morning for an ad, smelling salts with all the employees. Today, they're gonna have me see if I can open this up with my bare hands to really compare the smell of coconut and toasted vanilla beans to their new flavor, or I guess scent of body wash, coconut and vanilla. The thing I like about them is naturally derived ingredients. It actually smells really good. First, it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna try to just like squeeze this thing open. Ooh, I can feel it bending actually. I think I can do it. Okay, this still counts. Use one of these. Oh shit. Oh, it's moldy on the inside. Honestly, that still smells pretty good. But what about the toasty beans? The toasted vanilla beans? Well, fortunately, we've got a toasty bean. Unfortunately, he's been spending all day on the server, so he's already all sweaty. His scent is about as strong as it's gonna get. Give it a real solid sniff. All the hair went in my nose. It's a little dirty smell. It smells good though. So, smelling this, how's it compare? I'm gonna be honest. Surprise, Everyman Jack smells a lot better than a rotten coconut and a Toasty Beans cat. So check out Everyman Jack. They've been a great support of the business. I use literally all their stuff in the shower. I use their beard care stuff. I use their hair care stuff. Because it is high quality stuff, it smells really good. You can get it anywhere, but if you do want some, check it out via link in my description. It helps us out. Oh, I cut myself. It shows Everyman Jack that you guys are actually watching this and supporting them, so check them out below. And proof! Bleed for Everyman Jack. Now let's get to the details. So ranking these from most expensive to least expensive, got over here, and from heaviest to lightest is over here. And now let's start looking at the material, starting with the upper first, going just in this order, starting with Lono. So this is their biodegradable Flyknit, and I can't believe that they're still using the word Flyknit because Nike has a trademark on it, and Nike is notorious for defending its trademarks and copyrights, all this different stuff, and going after anything from one-man shops to small brands. Shocked that they're still doing Flyknit. I'm just gonna call it Lono knit, just to be safe for the rest of the video, for their sake at least. And it also has some fake suede bumpers on the toe and the heel. And even though I don't love fake leather, it's still gonna be a lot more durable than like this kind of knit material. But I'd rather have leather because it's more durable and not plastic. But one shoe that is mostly leather is the Barefoot, because they source this leather, like they said, from the US. It's 1.4 millimeters thick, so right around sneaker thickness. It is a real suede, so it's cut from that lower part of the cross section that doesn't have that smooth grain pattern that holds all those loose fibers together, strengthening the leather, making it a little bit more rigid and strong. But maybe that's part of what they're doing, is they wanted a suede so that it kind of shapes to your foot, it's still more flexible, a little bit more barefoot. So the suede's not crazy, but personally I'd just rather have a grain leather. Then if we look at the Freet, so this is a really crazy, well, they also call it Flyknit, first of all, which is so crazy, because I think Nike's probably gonna go after both of these brands, and I just avoid poking the bear at all costs with Nike. But this is a really cool material. It's interesting. They call it the coffee fly mesh, and it's made with recycled coffee grounds. And on their site, it says it comprises of 60 to 70% recycled coffee grounds plus binding polyester, known for its breathability, durability, and antimicrobial properties, albeit requiring slightly more cleaning effort. So it's kind of coffee grounds, right? Like I'm sure it's just like they've mixed coffee grounds into the material, but it is cool. You know, does it smell like coffee? This does not smell. Let's burn it. Let's see if it smells like coffee when we burn it. No, it just smells like polyester. So cool, but also it's like polyester. As far as I understand, coffee grounds aren't going to give you anything when it comes to performance. It's all just to say you have coffee grounds in your material, and obviously all these are very eco-friendly centered, and so it makes sense for the branding and yeah, so you get the point. And then if we look at the SOMs, it's a 15-ounce cotton canvas, very similar to what is in the Converse. The Tolos are a 220-gram poly mesh upper with DWR treatment, which is the water resistant treatment. It has TPU bumpers on the toe and on the heel and around the lace stays. And if I were to rank some of these uppers, most durable, I would give obviously the leather in the Barefoots. Most breathable, the most open mesh upper is the Lono. The most comfortable, I still like the Lono. I think it's the most comfortable. I like the little sock feel to it. I really like these. I really like to feel this knit upper, even if Nike comes after them. The most minimal is probably the Freet. You know, there's just less TPU overlays and stitching. It's just one solid piece for the upper, even if it has like this stretchy drawstring for laces. And even though some of these are like knit uppers, we still want to do the puncture test. And number one was the Tolos at 186.5 pounds, and all the way at the bottom was the SOMs, just being canvas, was 40 pounds, and then here's where they're at in between. Now if we start looking at the inside of the shoes, and this is where you're gonna get a lot of the stink factor, because like a lot of people love wearing these without socks. I never do, because it's nasty and they start smelling really quick. And it's also what part of the shoe that can wear out the fastest, especially at the heel. So if you look at the Lono, no lining whatsoever, just a little bit of reinforcement here at the heel with that same fake suede, just to prevent that heel from wearing through the material. Once again, rather have leather, it's stronger. Barefoot is basically just a typical fabric lining. It feels like it's backed with a little bit of foam, but really nothing special. The Freets just have a skeleton lining through some of this to kind of support and not let this one piece upper overstretch. The Freets have a really interesting lining because it's like spacer mesh, but a really open jersey material. So it's gonna be pretty breathable. It's gonna, that separation from the mesh is gonna allow some airflow. It's gonna wick your moisture. And so pretty cool lining for like a barefoot shoe. The Tolos have a 3/4 poly mesh sock booty. And you know, it's kind of similar to the Barefoot, just a thin, typical lining. So if I were to rank the linings, most durable, I'd probably say Tolos or the SOMs. The most breathable is the Lonos again, because there's hardly any lining. And most minimal is probably the Lono as well, because there's just that one patch at the heel. And now what about probably the weakest spot of all these shoes? Every single time, across the board, the insoles are pretty terrible, but with good reason that we'll talk about after we go through it. So the Lono, it's a removable textile open cell foam. It's 2.3 millimeters thick, and it bottoms out really quick because it's that open cell foam. The Barefoot has this textile topped binding tape insole that I wish they would just do a regular insole, because I don't like the feel of that binding tape around the insole, and it's 2.3 millimeters thick. The Freet has this removable, basically the same as the Lono. You know, it's just open cell foam, bottoms out really quick. It's a little bit thicker at 4 millimeters. And then the SOMs have a removable dual density insole, but this is more of like your cheap, almost like packing foam, or it reminds me of like the standing mats you get from like Harbor Freight. It's closed cell, but it has that cheap kind of feel to it. And the SOMs is also about 4 millimeters. And if you look at the Tolos, very similar material to the SOMs, just a little bit thinner at 3 millimeters, and it has these bumps on the backside. It just feels like a really cheap like insole foam. Let me see if I can rip these actually, just out of curiosity. No, well, it is fairly strong. It's really easy to deform. But I think the whole point, I probably shouldn't have deformed it that much, but I think the whole point of these really thin, easy to squish and easy to bottom out insoles is because they're barefoot shoes. You're just trying to get a little bit of extra squish in there. You're not trying to have a mattress on the inside. And so it makes sense, but it is still worth knowing which ones are going to give you a little bit more support, even if they are cheap foam, versus the two that are going to really bottom out pretty much immediately, and then the binding tape that I don't super love in the Barefoots. We also ran the ball drop test. At the top, Lono at 15 inches, and at the bottom, Tolos at 11 inches. And then everyone in between. Next to the midsole, so the Lono has a Gone Foam biodegradable EVA foam that it's the lasting material with the Strobel stitch. And it is a good amount of squish in there. Obviously it's nowhere near like a regular shoe's midsole, but it does give you some squish. Then the Barefoot, they have a solid lasting material. It's like almost like a felted fiberboard compared to just like a regular like pink fiberboard. So it's a little bit more rigid, give you a little bit more solid of a platform to stand on compared to foam. Next to the Freet, you have a textile top lasting material with just a little bit of foam underneath. SOM has a typical sneaker lasting material. And the Tolos have a very similar textile top foam material to the Freets. So the Barefoot are gonna give you a little bit more of a solid platform to stand on. It's not gonna have as much squish. And then your SOM's gonna feel more like a regular sneaker. And then these three are gonna feel similar because they're foam. There's just a little layer of foam underneath your foot. Finally to the outsole, and this to me is the most important part of the shoe on how it performs, maybe next to the upper, but it's really close. Because the Lono, you've got a Gone Sole biodegradable rubber outsole. It's a 75 Shore A, and it's allegedly 5 millimeters thick. But the thing I like about this is it's really flexible because they have these relief cuts that allow the shoe to bend and not have to crumple up. It just compresses those relief cuts, so you get a really natural and kind of cool feel to the entire shoe. And it's really grippy. The Barefoots have just a typical rubber outsole. It's just a flat sheet that they cut out the sole shapes. It is a 60 Shore A, about 4 millimeters thick. And if we look at the Freets, this is a rubber outsole that's a 75 Shore A. It's kind of that cup sole style that wraps around similar to the Lono. It's around 5 millimeters thick. And this Freet outsole is surprisingly rigid. You know, it still has these relief cuts, but it's a pretty hard to bend outsole compared to the rest of them. Obviously SOM is going to be a lot more rigid because the SOM outsole is a blown rubber outsole, or maybe TPU, it's hard to really tell. It's a 70 Shore A. This is a lot thicker at 9 millimeters. And out of all the outsoles, this one creeps up the sidewalls the most, even though it doesn't have a sidewall stitch. And then finally to the Tolos, this is a rubber outsole. It's a 60 Shore A, 3.5 millimeters thick, so really thin. And if I were to rank these from most flexible to least flexible, for sure the Tolos are the Lonos are the most flexible. These two names are so annoying, they're the exact same name. The Lonos are the most flexible. Then I would go to the Tolos. Then next, I would probably say the Freets, then the Barefoot, and SOM last. So I ran the bar drop test on it. Lonos and Freet at the top at 4.3 inches, Tolos right behind at 4.2, SOM also right behind at 4.1, which is basically interchangeable. They all performed basically the same except for the Barefoot, which bounced up 3.3, probably because that harder lasting board on the inside. We also ran the puncture test. SOM with that thicker outsole took 105 pounds, Barefoot 84 with that harder lasting board, Lonos at 81, Freet at 70, and Tolos at 69. So if I were to rank those outsoles, I would just say most durable, probably SOM because it's the thickest. Most comfortable, SOM because it's the thickest, but also Lono because it's the most flexible and it just feels the best underfoot for me. And most minimal is the Tolo. It's the thinnest and it's really, really flexible. My personal favorite, I like the extra squish of the SOMs. I honestly wish I could combine these two outsoles. Get a little bit extra thickness and having all that flexibility and not quite this rigid as the SOMs. And keep in mind, a lot of this is subjective to my personal taste because I just personally do not like really, really minimal shoes. I need a little squish underneath my feet. Other people want nothing underneath their feet. And so it is a little bit of a spectrum. So let's cut these in half and see how thick they really are, all the materials on the inside, how they're constructed, so you can really make a solid decision regardless of my subjective views with the information that we provide. So let's cut them in half. Okay, we got them all chopped in half, so let's open them up and see what's inside. And if you're not subscribed, consider doing it because these videos are very expensive to do, where we have to buy we buy 5 shoes in one video, and a lot of times they perform a little bit better, but we still need you guys' help. So like it, subscribe, so that we can keep doing this kind of stuff and just pack these videos full of information. So let's see what's inside. So now we can see that they're all cemented construction, and here's all the actual heights, the stack height measurement for all these different shoes instead of going through them. So which of these shoes are best for what? You know, what you can use all these for various types of working out, but some are going to be better for certain things. Lono, it's a really good all-around gym shoe, super breathable, super light. It has a good amount of squish for a barefoot shoe. It's a nice all-around shoe. The Barefoot, it's made with leather and it has that harder lasting board, so that's why the guys that run this, the big, huge jack dudes, are just lifting ungodly amounts of weights. They've designed these shoes around how they work out, and that's why it's a little more stable, has leather, and so that's more of what this shoe to me shades towards, is more lifting and a solid platform, but you can still work out in them. They're just not gonna be as breathable as Lono knit. Freet, they're good if you can't tie your shoes because they have a drawstring and if you want your shoes to look like water shoes, but keep in mind they have other shoes that look better. This one is especially just bad looking to me. And it doesn't really perform well in anything above any other one, so it might be one to skip. SOMs, this is your wide toe box Chucks. You know, it's just an alternative where you can get that wide toe box that has a similar feel to Chucks, but you do have a little bit more squish and height than regular Chucks, being that they're just a really thin rubber outsole, but similar feels underfoot. And then to the Tolos, it's basically a thinner version of the Lonos. So just a good all-around shoe, maybe a little less breathable than the Lonos. Almost identical names, very similar shoes. So what about overall most durable? I would say SOM and the Barefoot for obvious reasons. Most comfortable, I still like the Lono, but you know, the SOMs are pretty comfortable too with that little extra thickness. Most Barefoot, I would say the Tolos. It's the thinnest, it's still really flexible, and it's the closest to a true Barefoot. Most breathable, clearly the Lono. Which is the best overall? When you look at all the different materials and how they function, which one do I think is the best overall? I still think the Tolos are the best. What about which one to avoid? Probably the Freet. They have other shoes that are nicer and more similar to these other ones, but this particular shoe is just kind of a weird water shoe that didn't really shine in any significant way above the other ones. So I would avoid that specific Freet shoe. What about my favorite? Pretty clearly the Lono. I like it. You know, I wish it had just a little bit more squish, similar to the SOMs for me personally. I really like how this upper feels. It has a nice like hugging your foot. It's wide enough that you don't have that toe squish, and you get a little bit of squish underneath your foot that you can actually wear to the gym without worrying, at least for me, worrying that I'm gonna hurt my feet if I do too much in them, or if I'm doing like calf raises or a long jog. Just enough squish that I'm not as stressed about it. But ultimately, my dream Barefoot gym shoe would be basically this shoe, but with a little bit extra material on the inside. Fake suede is fine, but if we're gonna do fake suede, we might as well just do the real thing and do even just real suede. I'll take real suede over fake suede. Ideally, you do like a real nice leather, because these are only like 70 bucks too, which is a crazy thing, right? Like, aren't these so cheap? And they're up there with the best, I think they are the best out of this lineup. So they got the room to do leather. So Lono, just make us a leather version with a little extra squish. Some of us, I think more people want that than these brands think, because I think people just race to the bottom of the Barefoot world where like, it's gotta be nothing underneath your foot, it's gotta be eco-friendly, everything at the expense of the comfort and this, and you know, it's like, I get it, that's what the diehards want, but some people are not trying to be the diehards. We just want some of the attributes with a little bit of comfort. And that's why I find this series so interesting. That's why I like continuing cutting them in half, because I'm trying to find my perfect version of this style of shoe. So if you have any other recommendations, stuff that we haven't cut apart, let me know. Check out all the other videos we've done similar to this, with the boots, with the other exercise shoes, with casual shoes, but all that below. And don't forget, we got you a few discounts on some of these, and we'll try to get the other ones, and we'll put them in the description and try to use those codes. It helps us out, gets you a discount, and it's what allows us to cut apart 5 shoes with your guys' support of our handmade leather goods we do here in the shop. Watching these videos, the Rose Anvil 2, our collaborations, it's all that makes this possible. So thank you guys. See ya. And let me do that.